Hey everybody, welcome to Comics with Bueller. As always, I'm Bueller. Today we're going to look at my top 10 Spider-Man books in my collection. Like I said before, the top 10 books in my collection are not only worth money or have monetary value, but they also have a emotional value to me, and actually those are the ones that are more important to me, the ones I have an emotional connection with or an attachment. And we're going to go ahead and share with you all my top 10 Spider-Man books. So let's not waste any time. We'll start off with this one right here. This is Spider-Man number 33, Amazing Spider-Man 33. This is the famous final chapter with the famous Steve Ditko cover. It's actually my favorite cover for Spider-Man. I have a huge poster of this cover in another room that a friend of mine, Bob from Bob's World, sent to me. This is also a Stan Lee story, and you know, Stan Lee writing Spider-Man, it doesn't get much better than that. This is a book I picked up probably a couple years ago, and it's one of the pride and joys in my collection. It's in a little rough shape, but you know what? It's perfect for me. Next one I have is another one of my favorite covers, Amazing Spider-Man number 100, another Stan Lee, John Romita Sr., I believe, if I'm not mistaken, is the artist on that one. Yeah, John Romita Sr. Just an awesome anniversary book. I always like that the Kingpin's head is coming out right next to it. Well, you get it. But it's kind of funny. I enjoy that book. It's another one I picked up for pretty cheap, probably about 2 years ago, and it's definitely one of my favorites in my collection. Next one was a gift from my sister for Christmas, I believe, and this was pretty cool because she's never bought me a comic book before, and she picked a great one. This is Amazing Spider-Man number 60, and this is a beautiful copy of this book. I mean, it is almost spotless. There's a little crease right there in the corner. Not really much I can do about it, but you know what? Everything else is like it's brand new, like it just came off the rack. And here it is in a really old book. Very early appearance of the Kingpin. So thank you, sis, for a great book. This one will stay in my collection forever, hopefully, you know, so awesome. Okay, next one up is, this one is number 40. This is another Stan Lee story. This is The Origin of the Green Goblin. Love that book. Love that cover. They redid the cover on, I think, one of those number 800 issues, if I'm not mistaken. And I never found it, but I have the original, so I'm all good to go. But this is definitely one of my favorites. If you want to learn about the Green Goblin, here you go. And apparently, I think on issue 850 is coming up for Amazing Spider-Man, and Green Goblin's going to be back. So you never know. But awesome book. Wonderful cover. Kind of rough shape, but not bad for me. So I love it. Next one up is a autograph special, and this is Amazing Spider-Man number 375, and look at that shiny, wonderful goodness. Autograph by Randy Emberlin and Mark Bagley. I got to meet both the gentlemen at a Comic-Con. I've met Randy Emberlin a few times. He actually lives here locally in the Portland area. He actually went to my rival high school, Putnam. We called them Put Scum. So well, we actually talked about that. It was kind of funny. But this is one of my favorite books. To get those two gentlemen to autograph it for me, it's just awesome. And a shiny cover. It's a beautiful book. And I wouldn't mind getting more people to autograph this one, to be totally honest. But there you go. Amazing Spider-Man goodness. Shiny goodness. All right, let me take these down. Next one up is a villain. This is Amazing Spider-Man number 46. It's the first appearance of none other than the Shocker himself. Very cool villain. I always liked his costume. I thought it was pretty cool. And I got this for dirt cheap. I think I paid like $20 for this thing. It's rough, but you know what? For a first appearance of a longtime villain of Spider-Man, I'll definitely take it. Next one up, and this is kind of a placeholder for all 6 of them. This is Amazing Spider-Man number 293. This is part 2. I believe it's part 2. Yeah, part 2 of Kraven's Last Hunt by J.M. DeMatteis. All 6 of them are my favorite. I just wanted to show this one. Represents all 6. It's probably my favorite story of all time for comic books. And J.M. DeMatteis did all 6 of them. They went through Web of Spider-Man, Spectacular Spider-Man, and then also Amazing Spider-Man. So if you haven't read that one yet, you're missing out, because it's fantastic story, and I love this book. Okay, next one up is actually my oldest Spider-Man book in my collection. This is Amazing Spider-Man number 18, and this is the first appearance of Ned Leeds, who later becomes the Hobgoblin. And kind of a cool book. Also a really early appearance of Sandman. I believe it's like the third appearance of Sandman. So not bad to get that as well. So pretty happy about having that book. Like I said, it's my earliest book that I have for Spider-Man in my collection. And not too shabby, to be honest. Okay, next one up. And this one is going to require a little bit of a story. Okay. Spider-Man number 1. So there you go. Spider-Man number 1. It's a Todd McFarlane one. It's autographed right there by Todd McFarlane. And I've always kind of wanted to do a definity, or whatever you call it, of my Todd McFarlane story. So I think I'm going to take now for the time to actually tell the story from kind of start to finish. And we'll go ahead and start with this book right here. So the reason why this is probably my most special prized possession Spider-Man book in my collection is because I got to meet Todd McFarlane when I was very young. I believe I was around 14 years old in high school. The great thing is Todd McFarlane's wife, Wanda, was a teacher at my high school, at Clackamas High School here in Oregon, and they lived here in Oregon for a couple of years. A few of us found out that that was his wife, and at the time he was doing Spider-Man, and we kind of asked her a few times, hey, will Todd come to the school? Will you come talk to us? We're fans, you know. There was only a small handful of us. There was like 5 or 6 of us that really knew who he was at the time. And she finally gave in, or he gave in. I don't know what the story was at the home front. But he came to our school after school one day, and he said, yeah, if any of the kids want to meet me in the auditorium, I'll sit there and talk to them about comics and all this stuff. And so me and just a handful of other people, I think, like I said, there was only 5 or 6 of us total, got a private art lesson with Todd McFarlane. And he told us what he was working on and what he wanted to do. He kind of mentioned something about a character he's been wanting to do on his own, and that turned out to be Spawn. And, we talked about Spider-Man. He spent a couple hours with us. He actually drew some original artwork for me, and he showed me how to draw Spider-Man. I asked him how he draws it, and he said, come here. And he handed me a pencil, and he goes, go ahead and draw 2 lines on this piece of paper. So I drew 2 lines on the paper, and then he looked down and he drew Spider-Man, and every point of the line was where one of the limbs would go, like an arm, a leg, and other arm, other leg, and then the head. And he said that's how he drew Spider-Man. He just drew 2 lines on a piece of paper, and he tried to fit everything in within those 2 lines. And he gave me that drawing. Unfortunately, the stuff he gave me didn't make it. I don't know what happened to the stuff. I wish I still had it. It'd be amazing. So anyway, I do have this book, which is autographed, and there's also another book that he autographed for me, which is Amazing Spider-Man, the first appearance of Venom on the cover. He autographed that for me, but I gave that to my friend Sam for a Christmas present about a year ago. And then he autographed some other stuff, some posters or whatnot as well. Anyway, he had come to our school a couple more times throughout the year, and every time he came, it was a great experience, and just getting to talk to him about comics and everything. And he really influenced myself, and I'd like to say the other kids, but unfortunately they kind of fell off as far as enjoying comic books. So really myself, and I can only think of one other guy that kind of stuck with it because of what Todd said to us. Well, very shortly after they left, they moved back down to Arizona, Todd and his wife, and he started Image Comics. And which is just awesome. Image, Spawn, everything goes on from there. But I always remember my time with Todd. Probably about say 10 years later, I saw Todd again at a convention or a trade show that I was at for a different company. He was showing his toys and everything, and I had mentioned to him, hey, we met each other at Clackamas High School, and he's like, oh yeah, you're one of Wanda's kids. I go, yeah, that's me. And he remembered, he didn't remember me, but he remembered going there and talking to a group of kids. And so as time went on, and that, like I said, that was like 10 years after high school, all the way up until early this year. I've had zero contact with Todd McFarlane. And I got the opportunity early this year to go and see Todd McFarlane. He was doing a signing at a local comic shop in our area for the Image co-founders and stuff, which was just awesome. And a really great thing happened. As I was there and I was waiting in line, one of my friends who actually runs a Comic-Con here in the Pacific Northwest was there helping out for the event, and he was actually kind of assisting with Todd McFarlane what to do and everything. And his name was Steve, and I ran into Steve and I said, Steve, can you do me a favor? Can you give this note to Todd? Because I wrote him a note, saying thank you for, inspiring me as a kid and everything. And Steve said, why don't I just go get Todd for you and you can hand him the note yourself? I was like, that's great. So Steve goes and gets Todd and brings Todd to me. And me and Todd start talking, and I think I got a picture or something. I'll pop it up right here. And I'm talking to Todd about, the high school and how I met him and how he came to the thing, and he remembered everything. And Todd actually took out his phone, and he says, do you mind if I take a picture of you and a selfie, and I'm going to send it to Wanda? I said, sure, Todd. If you want to take a selfie with me, feel free to do so. So Todd and he took a selfie and he sent it to his wife, Wanda, which is just great. We talked for a little bit. Later, as I got up to do the signing at his table, probably about a half hour later, you could have one item for them to sign. I actually brought my yearbook from high school, and I wanted him to sign my yearbook. And he thought that was really cool. So he signed the yearbook. I'll probably put a picture of that up here as well. And he said, like Mr. Wanda or something or whatnot. He put down his wife's maiden name and stuff. But he thought it was really cool. And he's like, can I see my wife? And I flipped to the picture of his wife in there. And he's like, oh, yeah, there she is. And I think it was Mark Silvestri. He was there, and he's like, oh, let me see. And then Mark Silvestri says, oh, is there a picture of you? He's asking me. I go, yeah, let me show you. And so I show him a picture of me, and Mark Silvestri is like, man, Wanda aged a lot better than you did. I was like, thanks, Mark. And Todd's laughing and stuff. But it was such a cool day, and it was such a great time to kind of reconnect and share that with him and kind of let him know how much that meant to me. And here I am, 30 some odd years later, still have this book in my collection. It's my most prized Amazing Spider-Man book, and it's got so much connected to it. And I think that books that have that connection, that emotional connection, that feel-good connection, those are worth way more than anything that costs thousands and thousands of dollars. And I'd much rather have that than a bunch of $100 bills. So that is my favorite Spider-Man book. That is the Spider-Man Todd McFarlane story. There is still other chapters to be wrote. I'm actually in contact with Todd McFarlane's agent. I don't know if that's what it would be called, but I'm hoping to possibly set up an interview with them sometime in the future. You never know. Keep your fingers crossed. If it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, I guess I tried. So great story either way. Awesome. Okay, let me set these down. And you know what? Like I said before, I have some honorable mentions. And some of my Spider-Man books that I didn't show on this pile were in my top 10 books, favorite books in my collection. So I'll just show those really quick because you've already seen them. That is Amazing Spider-Man number 129, The First Punisher. Amazing Spider-Man number 42, The First Mary Jane. Some people debate that, but to me, that's the first. Amazing Spider-Man number 41, the very first appearance of Rhino. Love me some Rhino. And then, of course, we got to gear away from Amazing Spider-Man because, come on, Web of Spider-Man number 1. The Charles Voss painted cover. Give me a break. It's not worth a lot of money, but it's got to be one of your favorites. That is an awesome, awesome book. Next one up is one of my favorite McFarlane covers, 313, The Lizard. Look at that. Lizard. And these are some of my favorites. And I just like showing these off. But tell me if you see a pattern here. And I've showed these before. But I'm going to do it right here. Peter Parker, Spectacular Spider-Man number 1, featuring Tarantula. See that book? Next one up. Amazing Spider-Man number 147. I'm going to go slow if you can see that. See that? featuring Tarantula. Awesome. And here's Amazing Spider-Man number 134, first appearance of Tarantula. Look at that. You see a pattern there? They all three of the damn books look the same. I don't know. I like them. They're a lot of fun. I like having all three of those in my collection. I'd like to frame them all together and all in a row. So I actually like that character. It's one of my favorite books. Another one. This is my last one. This is Amazing Spider-Man number 201. This one has been in my collection almost from the very beginning. It survived all the years when I got rid of my books. This was in one of my short box that I kept, and always loved that cover featuring the Punisher number 201. Just an awesome book. So there you go. Those are all my favorite Spider-Man books. I hope you guys enjoyed them and learned a little bit more about me as well. Like I said, they don't have to be worth thousands of dollars to be your favorite or the most valuable to you personally. If you have any favorite books, do me a favor, tell me in the comments down below. And if you ever felt like making a video showing your favorite books, go for it. Let me know about it. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for your time. Don't forget to like and subscribe. You know what to do. I'll see you next time. Bye.